We have reached our final destination along the south coast of South Africa, and we found ourselves in beautiful Durban. As you can see, we've got the beautiful Durban city and the stadium in the background. And what is even more exciting is that we have Wofty joining us today. He is on the other side of the camera for the first time ever. I'm very excited to have him join us. And a fun fact about Wofty, he loves paddling, and we've been doing a lot of paddling along the various destinations of our little trip. And so today we thought it would be a perfect opportunity to do a Pilates for paddlers workout. So we are going to be focusing on opening the chest, getting deep activations into the core, as well as getting some nice mobility into those hips. We are also going to be mindful about doing Pilates, particularly for men. So let's get straight into it. Michaela felt a little bit tired today, so she decided to join us, but she is behind the camera. She's still with us, but let's get straight into it. We are going to be seated at the bottom of our mats. And so if you struggle with a little bit of hamstring tightness, you can keep your knees bent. Otherwise, if you can extend those legs. Let's lengthen that spine. And let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, lifting those arms up towards the sky. And deep breath in. Exhale, tucking in that head, neck, and chest all the way down towards those knees, reaching forward as far as you can. Inhale to pause. Exhale, slowly rolling yourself back up. Let's take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, we're opening our right shoulders towards the wall behind us, and we're following that arm with our eyes and reaching forward. Let's hold here for a little bit, and as we hold, we're pushing those knees into the ground, flexing those toes, and really rotating our body from that level of the waist, reaching and extending those arms out. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, coming back to center. And inhale, lifting those arms up towards the sky. Exhale, rolling those arms down and towards those toes as you tuck in that chin, reaching forward. Allow that stretch. Just use this time to let that body warm up, stacking that vertebra as you come back up. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, opening that left shoulder towards the wall behind you. Rotate a little bit more on that exhale. Let's inhale. Exhale, extend those arms a little bit more, looking over that left shoulder. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, coming back to center. We're going to do that sequence one more time. Let's inhale, lift those arms up towards the sky. Exhale, tucking in that chin as we drop those arms towards those toes, drawing that chin towards those knees. Extending forward. Deep breath. Exhale, rolling yourself back up. Last one. Deep breath in. Opening that right shoulder behind you and looking. Let's inhale. Exhale, rotate that body a little bit more if you can. Inhale. Exhale, extend those arms. Deep breath in. And slowly coming back to center on that exhale. Inhale, lifting those arms up towards the sky. And deep breath in, rolling your chin and chest towards those knees, flexing those ankles. Let's take an inhale to pause. Exhale, stacking that vertebra. And inhale, exhaling, opening that left shoulder, looking over that left shoulder. Deep breath in, rotate a little bit more. Deep breath in. Exhale, extend those arms away from each other. And now slowly coming back to center. We're just going to draw those feet and slowly tuck our ankles in, coming into a kneeling position. So we're finding ourselves now in the center of our mats. We're going to lift our arms up towards the sky and slowly leaning onto that right glute. So just lean yourself so that your right glute is seated on the mat. And now you're going to draw that left elbow towards the floor as you reach that right arm over towards the left, keeping those shoulders square. And we're going to hold here. Let's take a deep inhale and try and lean deeper into that stretch. Just making sure that you're keeping that glute on the mat. Now slowly coming back to center. Now slowly placing your left glute onto that mat as you lean that right hand onto the floor and reach that left arm over towards that right hand side.
Testing our balancing skills.
Balance, but stretching as well. So let's work hard. Making you work today for your first time. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, lean a little bit further into that stretch. And slowly coming back up into seated. Let's bring both our hands to our sides. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, reaching those arms up towards the sky as we slowly draw that chest towards those knees as we drop those hands towards the mat in front of us. Coming down into our rest position, pushing those shoulders into the ground. Slowly rolling yourself up into all fours position, tucking those toes in under those feet and lifting those knees off the mat and drawing your glutes up towards the sky, coming into our downward dog position. Let's push that head through those arms and just use this time to stretch the back of your hamstrings out, allow those shoulders to stretch out, walking those legs out just to loosen up those calves. This is a really good position because it allows you the opportunity to stretch out your shoulders as well as stretch out the back part of your legs while still allowing a little bit of recovery before we progress. Let's take another deep inhale. Let's try to lean deeper into that stretch. And slowly jump or walk yourself to the front of your mat, bringing your feet between your hands and coming into a seated position. Bringing arms out in front of you. Deep breath in. Exhaling, rolling yourself all the way down into a supine position. So we have our head comfortably on the mat, looking straight up, hands on the sides, getting that spine in neutral. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, bringing your arms out in front of you. Now I want you to interlace your hands and just keeping your pointing fingers extended. We're going to take a deep inhale and exhaling, rolling yourself all the way up towards the sky, coming down and then lifting yourself back up and bringing your arms towards the outside of your right knee. Then coming back to center, then lifting yourself out to the outside of that left knee. Coming back to center and then lifting those arms back to the ceiling, coming back down to starting point, now to the outside of that left knee. And while you're doing this, you are keeping that pelvis in that neutral position, and it's just a light rotation of those arms and of that body towards that outer side. And while you're doing it again, just make sure that those knees are staying aligned. We're going to that right, coming back to center, lifting up towards the sky. Center, keep working. We're sucking in that pelvic floor. And to the right. Let's do one more on each side, lifting up to the ceiling. You should be getting a deep burn. This is a nice little warm up to warm up the core. And slowly coming back, extending those arms overhead and slowly interlacing those hands comfortably behind your head. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhaling, lifting up head, neck and chest towards the sky. And we're just going to hold here, keeping that position. Let's rest that head in those arms. We're going to activate that tummy to lift right leg into tabletop and then left leg. Now from here, we're going to take an inhale, rotating right rib towards left hip on that exhale, coming back to center, and then left rib towards right hip, coming back to center. So even though this is a small movement, you should be getting a deep burn in those abdominal muscles, working really hard here to maintain that control, sucking belly to spine, keeping that 90 degrees in your hips and in your knees. Last one on each side, working really hard. I'm feeling a beautiful burn, and slowly extending those arms. I'm also feeling it. Hopefully this will make us a lot stronger when we run and paddle. And let's just look left and right as we hug those knees to chest. How are you doing there, Wofty? Okay, so our break, active recovery, no time to rest. Let's bring our arms into a T-point. Lifting our legs back up into tabletop. We're going to take a deep inhale. And as we dropped on that inhale, we're going to draw our knees towards the left-hand side. So it's just a 45. Then we're extending those legs out, coming back to that 90 degree, then drawing yourself back to center, then lowering towards the right-hand side. Extend, bend those knees, coming back to center, coming back to the left, and extend. So if you do struggle with that extension on that 45, it is okay. You don't have to extend too much. Go to the level of your capabilities. You're just wanting to get an extended lever to challenge your core as you go from left to right. Let's keep working to the left and extend, back to center, to the right and extend, coming back to center. Let's stay in the center now. And we're slowly going to drop our knees all the way towards the left onto that floor, keeping that 90 degrees in those hips, keeping those shoulders on the mat. You're going to look in the opposite direction of your knees. Very nice. Let's take a deep inhale. And exhaling, we're going to draw that right hand up and over to connect with that left arm. So this is one of my favorite exercises. It's called Happy Croc. We're going to take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to draw our hands along the floor, over the head, extending, reaching as far as you can as we open that chest and drawing that right shoulder onto that mat while we keep that hip facing forward. So this is a nice pec and lat stretch just to loosen up from that paddling, loosen up those muscles. Coming back to center, drawing those hands. We're going to do 2 more of those, drawing that arm along the mat, reaching forward as far as you can and bringing your shoulders into a T-point. And on that inhale, bringing those hands to connect. And last one, reaching that right arm, reaching. And looking in the direction that your arm is flowing and slowly coming back to center. Let's open that arm all the way back into T-point, placing that shoulder on the mat and slowly using that core to lift those knees back up into tabletop position. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, dropping your knees towards the right hand side, looking in the opposite direction that your knees are falling. And let's take a deep inhale. Exhale, closing that left shoulder and hand towards that right hand. Bending your arms over. And let's lift that arm all the way up and over. Rolling that arm along the floor as you open that chest. And we've got 2 more of these slow controlled movements. Coming over, loosening up those shoulders and reaching that arm along, stretching and extending and coming. We're going to stay in this T-point position, taking a deep inhale. Now lifting those knees back up into tabletop position. We're going to bring our arms up, palms facing each other, and we're going to extend those legs, lowering those legs slightly, then coming back into tabletop. So we are doing a slight lower of those limbs as we come back into tabletop. Slow, controlled movements, keeping that core tight. The key here is to make sure that that core is maintaining that stability as those limbs move from extension back to center. Keeping that core tight and extend very nice. Let's do 3 more, slow and controlled. Inhale, center, and 2, and 3. Now slowly dropping those legs down onto the mat, bringing your arms back into T position. We're just going to rock those knees from left to right, just allowing that mobility and stretching into that body. Let's extend those legs, bringing arms overhead and inhaling to prepare and exhaling, lifting yourself all the way up into a seated position. If you can't do that, then you can grab your legs and pull yourself up using your hands. So let's try that again. Walking your hands, very nice. Keep walking and all the way up. That works. And now we're going to tuck. Well done though for trying. We're going to tuck our feet in and drawing ourselves over back into an all fours position. Lifting ourselves all the way back up into a downward dog. Okay, let's hold here again just for a few moments, pushing those heels into the ground. Let's try challenge ourselves and see if we can get a little bit deeper than the first downward dog that we had. Now I want you to roll forward into a front support position. And from here, we're going to take our left hand and tap our right ankle. So here we are rotating using that core, coming back to front support, now doing the same thing with that other hand. Okay, so we should get a stretch in the hamstring while we're working, but also a shoulder stretch as well as a core activation. So work really hard to keep that activation and that posture of that core when you come into that front support position. And just activating those glutes, activating that core, falling into that stretch as you go from left to right. And last one on each side, keep working. Coming back to that front support position, we're going to lift that left arm to touch that right ankle, but now staying here. If you can try and straighten both knees, but if you have to, you can bend them. So Wofty will bend them, I'll keep mine straight. And I want you to really focus on drawing that left hand almost towards that heel. So you're rotating that shoulder and you're trying to get those shoulders square. Lift those heels off the floor if you need to. And we're just going to hold here, and I want you to push that right shoulder into the mat. So you're just stretching out. Let's take a deep inhale. We're holding here for another 3, 2, 1. Bringing that hand back, rolling yourself into that front support position. We're going to hold here for 5, 4, keep pushing, 3, 2, 1. Lifting that right arm towards that left ankle. Again, if you need to bend those knees, you can, if you're feeling a little bit tight in those hamstrings. And let's really work on trying to grab that outer part of that heel, rotating those shoulders, and now pushing that left shoulder in towards that mat. Keep working, and let's hold. Deep breaths. Allow that body to stretch out, but don't push yourself beyond your limits. Just go to where you feel comfortable. Let's hold for another 3, 2, 1. Rolling yourself back onto that front support position. Heels above those toes. Let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dropping those knees, leaning yourself all the way into rest position just to recover. Very well done. Pushing those shoulders into the ground. Now our next sequence is going to be slow controlled push-ups. I'm going to do the modification while Wofty will show the alternative. Let's roll ourselves back into all fours, lifting our knees off the mat. So right knee in, then left knee into a front support position. I'm going to keep my knees on the mat. So those of you who prefer to keep the knees on the mat, you can follow me. Those of you who want more of a challenge, you can follow Wofty. Let's activate those glutes. And we are slowly going to draw our chest towards the mat in a slow control. We're going to count to 5 all the way down and then 5 back up. So let's take a deep inhale and slowly bringing that chest to the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold here. Deep breath in. Exhale. Lifting back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to do 5 of these. Inhale. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. 5, 4. Slow, controlled, getting that activation of those biceps and triceps. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Lifting. 5, 4. We've got 2 more, keeping that core tight, making sure you're not dropping that pelvis. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going ahead of the count. And dropping those knees if you had those knees up and leaning yourself into that rest position. Very well done. Wofty needs a timeout, but we still have a few more activations and sequences to do. Let's come back into an all fours position. We're going to drop our elbows onto the mat and we're going to lift ourselves into a plank position, so core tight, and feet are about a fist width apart from each other, so Wofty can bring his feet in. And now we're just pushing ourselves away from the mat with our elbows. From here, we're going to go into our dolphin crunches. So we're just drawing those glutes up towards the sky as we push the shoulders into the ground, coming back to center on that inhale. We're going to do 10 of these. So that's 2 and 3. Keep going. 4, sucking belly to spine. 5, back to center. 6, slow and controlled. You want to almost pause when you have those glutes in the air to allow that stretch in those shoulders. And 8, and 9, and last one. We're going to come back into that plank position, and we're just going to hold deep breaths. We want to use this time to also improve our endurance. So let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly dropping those knees and leaning back into that rest position. Very well done. Slowly coming back into that plank position, lifting those knees up. We're going to lift our right knee off the mat, and then we're going to bend it towards that right elbow, extend and drop, then left leg off the mat, bending that left knee towards left elbow and drop. You want to try and keep your pelvis at the same level consistently, and this is just opening those hips while you are getting a good shoulder and core activation. So let's work hard. We're going to do 2 more on each leg. That's 1. Keep going. And 2. Coming back to center, dropping those knees. Very well done. And slowly coming back up. We're going to just pivot ourselves. So we have our elbows on the mat, our knees are on the mat. And we're just going to pivot ourselves onto our right hand sides. Left shoulder and hip are facing up towards the sky, and we're going to extend that left leg off and that left arm up towards the sky. We're going to lower that hip and then extend that arm over as we toe tap. And we're just going to do 5 of these. That's to lower that hip and toe tap as you draw arm overhead, and lower that hip as you draw arm overhead. We've got 2 more, lowering that hip, toe tap, overhead, and last one, lowering that hip and overhead. And we're just going to bring that arm to T-point and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dropping that knee and slowly pivoting yourself back onto all fours and then leaning back into rest position. Now slowly coming back, elbows are on the mat, knees are on the mat. We're going to pivot ourselves over onto that left hand side. Shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked, lifting that right leg up, arm into T-point. We are hip dropping and then lifting and then toe tapping as we reach arm overhead. That's 1. Slow and controlled. It's a difficult movement, but we're just doing a few reps, hip drop, lifting up. And so we want to have those few reps at a high quality while maintaining a good posture. And hip drop and toe tap and reach. And last one. And toe tap and holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bending that knee, dropping that knee, and slowly turning over.
One side's supposed to be harder than the other.
Generally that happens. I find my right hand side is a lot weaker, my right glute. And very well done. We've got a last little sequence to push, so let's push through. It's a way of keeping you going. Now slowly coming all the way, extending that pelvis onto the mat as you open that chest towards the sky. Very, very well done. We're going into our final sequence, and I promise now that it is. But we're slowly going to lower our chest towards the mat and then exhaling, lifting up and looking over that left shoulder. And then coming all the way back to center, all the way down. And then lifting back up. And we're going to do 3 of these on each side. And looking up. Keep going, coming back to center. Just looking over my shoulder so I can check on you, make sure you're doing the exercises correctly. And last one towards that right shoulder. And slowly coming back to center, lowering all the way down. I want you to place your head comfortably looking down in front of you. So you're just off the mat, you're going to take your hands, you're going to interlace them behind you. And you're going to activate those glutes to lift those knees off the mat. And now taking a deep inhale, you're going to lift that chest, opening that chest and lifting and drawing those elbows and those hands away from your body. We're just going to hold here. Keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly releasing. We're going to do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhale, lifting that chest up, lifting those knees off the mat. And keep holding. We're going for 8 this time. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. And last one, we're going for 10. Lifting up and holding. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly coming down, extending those arms over. Let's just lift ourselves up into rest position, and we're going to progress that last exercise as our final sequence in that position, and then we are done. So just stick with me. We are nearing the end. We can see the finish line. Let's come back onto our prone position. We're going to bring our arms out in front of us. We're going to lift those legs off the mat. So try, see if you can. If you struggle, then you can keep those knees on the mat. I do want you to try and challenge yourself so you can get that glute activation. And we're slowly going to extend those arms and slowly draw them back behind us and then around them and back in front of us. The whole time I want you to make sure that your neck is in neutral. And as we go from our different positions, I want you to rotate those hands, drawing those shoulders back, and then keeping those scaps down. You're just lowering those arms towards your side and then bringing them over. Keep going. And let's do one more after this one, all the way down and extend. Now, if you haven't lifted those knees off, let's lift them off the mat, keeping those arms off the floor, rotating our hands to face the floor. We're going to go into swimming. So we're just alternating, lifting opposite limbs for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lifting arms up and slowly lowering yourself down. Wow, that's a beautiful activation. Pushing your shoulders into the ground. Very nice. We're going into our final. We've done our final sequence. We're going into our final stretch. And now let's lift ourselves into a kneeling position. We're going to lift that left knee in front of you and leaning forward into that left knee, allowing that right hip flexor to stretch out. I want you to try and grab that foot with your right hand as you lean into that left knee. Now lifting that left hand up towards the sky, and I want you to look over that right shoulder. We're just going to hold here. Should be getting a beautiful hip flexor and quad stretch. Let's take a deep inhale and just lean a little bit more into that knee. Now slowly coming back up and dropping that hand, dropping that left knee onto the mat as you lift your right foot out in front of you. Let's just start by leaning into that right knee as you allow that left hip flexor to stretch out. Let's draw that left heel towards that glute, and now grabbing that left foot with that left hand as you lift your right arm up, looking over that left shoulder, and just hold. Take a deep inhale and lean a little bit more into that front knee. Keep going, very nice. Now slowly coming back up and dropping that knee back onto the mat, leaning all the way down into a seated position. Let's lift those arms up for one last time towards the sky. Now drawing that chest all the way back down into our final rest position. And now you can slowly lift yourself all the way up into a seated position. Thanks for joining Wofty and I on the mat today. I hope you enjoyed the workout just as much as Wofty did. It was so nice having you join us today, and I look so forward to having more workouts just like this one, and I will see you in the next video.
Thanks for having me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.